Naam, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for joining me, Sister Shakira. Please kindly confirm to me that you can hear me and you can see me. Yes, we are here today again, always here on Friday, sharing about parenting. Kindly help us to share this link to other parents. Let them also come and join us while we go into this session. Right, thank you so much. Please, I would like to confirm from you. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Can you see me before we go on? So today, inshallah, we're going to be talking about the self-care myth, how to fill your cup as a parent without feeling guilty. Already, we said that this October, we're going to be talking about parenting without burning out. And of course, it is when we're able to care for ourselves, that's when we don't slip into burnout, right? When we're able to fill our own cup without feeling guilty. Thank you so much. I can see your message now. Right, so now let's, as much as we can, I would love that we have an interactive session. So please kindly share with me as I ask and let me know. Let me hear from you also. I would really love that today's session is actually an interactive session, right? So please kindly share with me as we go on and let's have this beautiful conversation together, inshallah. Right, so parents, we need to be honest. Let's be honest. You know, this is something that we've seen so much. We've seen about, raising our children. So when was that last time that you did something just for you and you didn't feel guilty afterward? I want to hear from you. Share with me the comment section. Where was that time when you bought yourself, maybe, you bought yourself a clothes, or maybe you took money out of your hard-earned money to buy something for yourself just for you to enjoy, or you bought something for yourself just for you to enjoy, or you took that, break just for yourself. You just want to be alone and you didn't feel guilty afterward. Share with me. Is this something that you actually feel, or is this something that is just, that I have just assumed? I'm sure I'm not assuming this. Let's have this conversation. I actually saw, a meme or a video whereby the caption says that this is how we look when we're passing, where we want to even, where there are, underwear for us as mothers. We pass as if we don't want to look at those things because we don't want to buy them. But then when we get to that place whereby there are so many clothes for our children, beautiful clothes and all of those things, you see us picking one or two things. Is this something that you've also find yourself in? Is it a situation you have also found yourself in? So the truth is that this is something that is very common. We give, we serve, we nurture our children, we nurture every member of the family, everyone around us. But then we give so much that we are running on empty. But the truth is that an empty parent cannot raise a full child. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. An empty parent cannot raise a full child. If you are empty, you can't give. That's something that we need to know. This is something that we have, always heard. We've spoken about it. But the truth is that a lot of the time, we still find ourselves in that guilt trap of, oh, I did this. I should have used that money to pay for the school fees. I should have used this money to do something, right? We give so much, but then if we keep giving without trying as much as possible to fill our own cup, we'll get to a stage whereby we can't give anymore. And like we said, that an empty parent can never raise a full child. So if you actually want your child to be wholesome, if you want your child to be full, if you want to raise a child who is responsible, you yourself have to be full. You can't be empty and expect that you'll be able to give. So you need to know that taking care of both a child and your personal need, yes, we all know that it can be very challenging. You see so many parents complain. It can be challenging. It is hard work, like I always say, but then it is not stress work. Yes, if you find yourself in a situation whereby you are stressed every time because you are raising children, it most likely means that you are running on empty. And once you start running on empty, you can't give. You can't keep giving. But we always want to be in that space whereby we keep giving, And what happens is that we break down, we burn out. Right. So research has shown that 48% of parents say that their stress is overwhelming. I was speaking with a friend sometimes last week, and she was actually asking me about another friend who we used to be very close online, and she was saying that, where is this person? I've not heard from this person for a particular period of time and all of that. And I said that she feels overwhelmed. According to her, she feels overwhelmed and she needed to leave the online space for some time and all of that. And she was also telling me the same thing, that I feel the same thing. And I went to visit a friend yesterday. She was narrating our deal with that friend to me, that I went to visit a friend yesterday and she was also sharing the same thing, that she feels overwhelmed, right? So this is something that is very common, especially with mothers, right? Especially with people that are raising children. We when busy parents are feeling, when we feel physically exhausted, we are feeling emotionally drained, we're feeling mentally overwhelmed, it can become harder for us to respond to our children's needs. This is something that we need to know. So when we know this, when it rings a bell in us that, okay, I am feeling, there's that feeling of overwhelm, I'm physically exhausted, I won't be able to give to my children the way I should give to them. I won't be able to show up for them the way I should show up for them. I think remembering this will actually help us to be in a space whereby we focus on ourselves. We pay attention to ourselves, knowing that caring for ourselves is not being selfish. It's actually being selfless, right? Because you understand the fact that no matter how I love these children, if I do not take care of myself, first of all, I wouldn't be able to give as much as I should give to them, right? So it becomes harder for us to respond to our children's needs in a patient and consistent manner. And this is what leads to a lot of things that we do. Apart from the fact that we might be traumatized, we might be coming from so many things and all of that. Other things that actually actually adds to our inconsistency is a situation whereby we're trying to pour from where there's nothing, right? So we need to know that prioritizing our mental health and well-being can restore balance and help us to be a better parent in the long run, right? So this is something we need to know. We should never be in that space whereby we think that caring for ourselves, getting ourselves things, or being in that place whereby we want to fill our own cup is us being selfish, or is us not being a good parent, quote and unquote. So today we're going to be debunking that self-care myth. We're going to talk about what actually self-care is, what self-care is actually, right? So we need to know, just like I said, that self-care is not selfish. As a matter of fact, it is selfless. That it's not indulgence, right? It's not something that, yes, we might feel that it's taking us away from our families or something, but the truth about caring for ourselves is that it does not necessarily have to take us away from our family. It does not necessarily have to be something grand, right? So we're going to be talking about that. And why I said that we're going to be talking about the myth is that a lot of the time, some parents feel that, when we talk about self-care, we're talking about a ground, vacation, going on a vacation, going away from your children and all of those things. That's not what self-care is actually, right? If you have been in that space, I want us to bust that myth today. It is not something grand. Self-care is not something grand. It's something that should be a continuous part of our living. We've spoken about some things that we're still going to talk about today, but then we're going to be talking about it in a way that we actually put it in our routine and it's something that is continuous. So instead today, we'll discuss how self-care is an act of love, how it is, balance, and how it is even worship, right? This is something that we need to know. I love to tell people that when people want to talk, they say something like Dean over Dunya. But then I love to tell people that if you understand that whatever it is that has to do with your dunya is you serving Allah, then maybe we would not focus on Deen over dunya. We would not see it as something that should be competitive. We will not see it as something that, you need to focus on this and leave this. When we understand the fact that trying to tend to our family, trying to take care of ourselves, trying to be available for the people around us is actually serving Allah, then we'll be able to know the things that we need to put into perspective, and we'll be able to put them into perspective well enough, right? So in this session, we're going to be talking about how it is, how it is an act of love, how it is balanced, and how it is even worship, and how we can start filling our cups without feeling guilty, right? So, like I said, that self-care is not luxury. It is the maintenance of your body, your mind, and your soul. Who is going to help us write that in the comment section, right? It is the maintenance of your body, your mind, and your soul, right? So, there's an hadith of the Rasul, peace be upon him, that says that your body has a right over you. Your husband has a right over you, and your wife has a right over you. So your body has a right over you, which means that this body itself, just like we were talking about sex education, that your body is, it is a trust. Whatever it is that you do with it, it's going to talk on that day. It's the same thing for, when we take care of it and when we do not take care of it. So we need to know that our body has a right over us. This is a Sahih hadith. It has a right over us, and we need to be in that place whereby we are responsible for the things that we do with it. If you actually want to be in that space whereby we have that body, we have that good health to actually serve Allah with our body, it means that we need to take proper care of it. If you want to be in that space whereby we're able to give back to our family, we're able to give to our children, we're able to, be available for our children, we need to know that we need to take care of our body. But then if we do not do that, we'll break down, and at the end of the day, the children we are, our body that we're neglecting, and we want to take care of the children, we will not even have that ability, that body does not have that strength anymore to even give to those children. So we don't want to be in that space where we break down completely before we start thinking of taking care of our body so that we can be available for our children, right? So this is something we want to know, right? Like I said, it's not selfish. It is fulfilling the right of Allah over our own body, right? And we need to know that neglecting rest is neglecting that trust that Allah has bestowed upon us, right? Neglecting rest is actually, neglecting that trust that Allah has given to us. So a lot of the time, parents feel selfish for resting, and they feel guilty for resting, right? So why exactly do they feel guilty, right? It comes from believing that good parents sacrifice endlessly. Right? This is, apart from even self-care now, this is something that plays out in our world of impact, in our world of trying as much as possible to do better in our, for ourselves. And that's why a lot of people, once they start giving birth, they shift the whole of the focus from themselves to their children completely. They neglect themselves. And if you've constantly listened to me, or on this session, I've always said that if you are in that place whereby you are neglecting yourself because you want to raise your children, you are not actually modeling the best of things to your children. So you need to be in that space whereby you take care of yourself, you focus on yourself while you also nurture your children. This is something that is possible. It is not rocket science. So you don't have that mentality that because you want to be that good parent, because you want to be that good person to your children, then you want to sacrifice everything that you have to your children, and you want to run on empty. So we feel guilty because we feel that when we say good parents, it is good parents are those people who actually sacrifice endlessly to their children. No. That's not the definition of being good, right? So being a good parent doesn't mean that you have to endlessly sacrifice. It means that you are not just physically present, but you are emotionally available. Think about it. If you've given yourself out too much to your children, what happens? It takes us back to the things that we do that we do not even want to do. The things that when we finish doing them, we regret doing them. Spanking our children, yelling at them, and doing all sorts of things. That is because no matter how strong you feel you are, if you're in that space whereby you are not focusing on yourself, you keep giving, and giving, you will get to a point whereby you can't be available for your children emotionally because you are not emotionally stable. You will be in that place whereby you will just be physically present. You will just be there. And that's why a lot of the time, when we talk about connecting with your children, people say something like, I'm always at home. I have just an online business. I tend to my business from home. I'm always at home. But then being physically present is different from being emotionally present. And if you're in that space whereby you are not taking care of yourself, it's just like, this is the source. We're not putting anything in the source, and we're taking and taking and taking from the source. Once the source runs empty, what happens? There's nothing to take from. But because this thing is not physical to us, this is not something we can actually see and say that, okay, yes, it's just one that is left. It's just two that's left. We need to replace it. We keep giving, and we want to give from that empty thing. And the moment it's empty, yes, we can't see it physically, but then emotionally, we won't be able to give as we are supposed to give. So this is something we need to look into. So we should not have that guilt, or we should not come to that conclusion. We should not be in that space whereby we feel that good parents sacrifice, endlessly without even remaining anything for themselves. No, that's not going to make you a good parent. As a matter of fact, that's going to make you to be in that space whereby you are not available for your children. right? So, and the thing is, in truth, burnout and overwhelm robs you of the ability to be emotionally present for your children. And we say that in a situation, in a relationship whereby there is no emotional connection, it's not really a relationship. It's not really a relationship. You need to be there for the people you say you care for. You need to be available emotionally. So self-care is stewardship. This is something we need to know. Self-care is stewardship. It is the act of caring for yourself, which helps you to improve with time. So if you are caring for yourself, when we talk about self-care, it is not just, it's not skincare. No, it's not. It's not skincare. Because a lot of the time when people talk about self-care, now that is one thing that comes to their mind is when, you have yes, it's good to have a good skin. It's good to have all of those things. But you want to ask yourself, how does that, even contribute to you being able to be available for your children? So we need to know that self-care, having self-care or taking, things that actually mean self-care is stewardship, because it requires that you are taking care of yourself so that you can be able to improve with time. And the more you improve, the more it rubs on your children. The more you are able to improve, the more it rubs on your children. So you are caring for the trust of your body and your energy. Right? So you want to ask yourself today, how does your mood or tone change? This is something I want us to reflect on. And if it is okay, let us share this in the comment section so that we'll be able to actually lay our hands. We're actually able to think, because the moment you know that you want to type something, you are able to reflect on that thing. So think about it. How does your mood or your tone, how does it change your tone when you are tired or overwhelmed? This is something I want you to share. When you are, for me, when you're in that space where you are tired and everything is just there, for me, I don't know for any other person, you find yourself, you want to lash out any little thing, no matter how little that thing is. You just want to answer in a way that it's not coming from that logical part of your brain. It's just coming from that emotions that you feel tired, that you feel, you don't have that energy again. Right? So you want to think about it. How exactly? Just for you to be able to have an idea of, once you are not in that very good state of mind, once you are tired, your mood is going to change, your tone is going to change, everything and anything that you do around your children, you are going to be doing it in a negative way, because that is to tell you that your body wants something and you're not giving it. And once you are not giving it, it's not going to give you also that utmost quality that you want from it. Right? So another reason why parents feel, selfish for resting, they feel that, okay, I'm selfish, is because of societal pressure as a parent. We spoke about pressure last week, and you can easily deduce from there. You want to think like, okay, I've seen this person, she's doing ABC, she's doing this, I'm unable to do A, I'm unable to do B. And because of that, we feel that we need to be up, giving our all, making, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and doing everything together, caring for the kids, tending for the kids, tidy for the kitchen, making sure that the environment is clean and all of those things, right? So we feel that there's that societal pressure. And that's why we always say that if you want to be in that space whereby you're intentionally raising your children, you need to follow your own plan. You need to have your own template, not what others dictate, not what others are showing online. This is something we want to think about, right? So why is it now important for us to prioritize self-care as a parent? One of the things that parents see, just like I was saying, that children see, just like I was saying yesterday, that a lot of the time it's not about the things that we teach. It's not about the things that we say. When it comes to parenting, it has mostly to do with the things that we model. So each time I get complaints that a particular child is doing something wrong or this, and people are complaining, I tell them there's someone, if you are not responsible for these things, there's someone around your child that is showing your child this thing. And this child has actually picked this thing from you. It might not be that sometimes. It might be that there's a root cause for something. So it's a different thing. Some things are, behavioral problem. Why some things in parenting are structural problem, right? We'll not go deep down into that. But we need to know that when we talk about, why we ourselves should be able to be in that place whereby we practice self-care. One thing is that we're teaching our children to also do the same. So when your child sees you, that you are trying as much as possible, you are setting boundaries, you are asking for help in your daily life, you are making time to relax, they are also learning to take care of themselves in both normal and necessary situations. So you want to be in that space. A lot of the time, we are here because we have seen our parents model, especially our mothers, model something to us, and we have just caught it. And that's why I said that some things are taught, some things are caught. Some things are taught, some things are caught. Some things, it's not as if our parents sat us down and said that, okay, yes, you must do this, do this, do this. But we just caught it from how our own parents behaved, from how our own parents were able to do the things that they did. We just caught it from them. And that's why I always say that it's either it's a part of the curriculum, or it's not a part of the curriculum. Irrespective of how you run your parenting, you're following a curriculum. It's either you are following a curriculum that was passed on to you by your parents, or you are intentionally building your own curriculum, right? So when we are in that space whereby we set boundaries, because setting boundaries is a core aspect of self-care. So when we set boundaries, when we ask for help from even our children, from the people around us, when we find time for ourselves to relax, there's that catching that our children are also doing, which means our children are also catching, they are learning something from us. So we don't want to be in that place whereby we are modeling that if you don't do this, if you don't give your all, then you're not good enough. We don't want to be in that space whereby we are modeling that to our children. So we need to be in that place whereby we put into practice certain things, right? So we need to know that developing healthy habits and a daily routine of self-care can lead to a parent feeling more energized and focused. A lot of the time when we do certain things without having a plan in mind, we just do everything. We find ourselves in that place whereby we feel that we have so much to do and we don't even know how to pick it. We don't even know how to start. So we need to know, first of all, that developing a healthy daily habit and routine is self-care on its own. Because when you are able to do that, you are able to know that, okay, yes, these are the things I need to do. These are the things I need to do for myself. So even if there's an external factor that is trying to bring something to you, and you know that, yes, this thing that is being brought to me is definitely going to affect my own routine, and if I try to marry these two things together, I'm definitely going to be overwhelmed. It helps you to block that external factor immediately. But if you do not have a plan that you're following, if there's anything that comes to you, you're just going to take it. And that takes you to the inability to say no, because you don't even have your own life planned. And that's why I said self-care is not about having that luxury vacation. It's not about, running away from your children. How long do you want to run? Your children will always be there. None of us pray that they are never there anymore. So they will always be there. There is no amount of running away that we want to do. We'll definitely come back to meet them. But then what are those things that we can implement in our daily life such that it is us caring for ourselves? So we don't be in that place whereby we give away all our energy and there's nothing left for us. So we need to model that, and we need to be in that space whereby we have our daily routine, we have it planned out. There are certain times that, you want to let people around you know that, okay, yes, this is the boundary. For me, when I was together with my children, then once I come back from work and, we just talk a little bit, I'll tell them, mommy wants to sleep. I told you last week, I said, this is something like it's self-care for me. I sleep so much. I'll tell them I want to sleep. And they respect this because I also give them their own time. And that's how wonderful children can be, only if we can put the necessary structure in place. They understand this to the extent that they will be the one telling themselves that, don't make noise, so mommy is sleeping, mommy is resting. So once that plan is there, both young and old around us will be able to understand that, okay, yes, these are the things that, this person will take. Just setting boundaries. You want them to understand that, okay, yes, this is a yes, this is a no. At this time, it is a no. At this time, it is a no. Right? Depending on your seasons of life. Right? So, it can lead us to better interact with our children. You find that space whereby we have put the necessary, we have planned ourselves. Right? So this is why self-care is not luxury. Like I said, it can instead be seen as an important part of being an effective and balanced parent. So you want to be effective, you want to, balance everything. And at the same time, you don't want to burn out. This is something that is very possible, right? This, I said from the beginning of the session, that it's going to be, a short session. It might not last an hour, but then it's still going to be beneficial. So what are the types of self-care and practice, to practice as parents? What are the types of self-care to practice as parents? We're going to talk about them, and we're going to talk about the things that we can actually do under each of them. The first one is emotional self-care. Emotional self-care. Who will help us put that in the comment section? Emotional self-care. So tending to your emotional well-being can help you to process feelings, can help you to reduce overwhelm. It can help you to stay connected with your own self first. So if you're in that space whereby you pay attention to your emotional well-being, you will be able to process your feelings. You will be able to know the things that makes you sad, things that makes you angry, and you don't always put it on your children. You see, a lot of the time, we even say things like, oh, I'm angry, can transfer aggression. We say things like this. So what happens is that when our children, maybe the older children, they do the same thing for their younger ones, we start to complain. We start to say things like, you can't even tolerate. Meanwhile, they learned these things from us. So we don't want to be in that space where we are emotionally drained. Because when we are emotionally drained, we won't be even able to think about how we feel. There's definitely going to be overwhelmed. We are going to be overwhelmed. It will be as if, the feeling of overwhelm is just like when something big is put on you and you don't even have the opportunity to take it away and say, okay, and feel light. That's what feeling of overwhelm means. Or is there anyone who can, is there a way you can explain it better than how? For me, that's what it is. When you feel like there's so much on your head. But then if you are able to do certain things, you are going to be able to, emotionally care for yourself, and you are going to take overwhelm away, right? And you're able to stay connected to yourself. So what are the strategies that you need to do? Remember that we said that in parenting, you can't run away. There's nowhere you want to run to. You will always be with your children. Even as adults, when they marry, they will always be there. They will always call. They will always do all of those things. But then what are the daily activities that you want to do to actually take that stress away from you? To actually be in that place whereby you are caring for yourself. So how can you care for yourself emotionally? What are the strategies to use for emotional self-care, right? Like I said from the beginning, when it comes to emotional self-care, you need to set boundaries. Learn to say no. Once I was able to learn to say no and I started saying no, there's this loss of shift that happens to you when you are able to say no. Because you can't always be in that place where you want to please people. You can't please everyone. And the moment you know that you can't please everyone, you start to prioritize yourself first. So you want to set boundaries, learn to say no. Your friend has invited you for something, or they have invited you for anything. They want you to be in a place. If it is not something that you can accommodate with tending to your children, with tending to yourself, learn to say no. This is something that is very important. The moment you learn how to say no, you will see how smooth things are going to go for you. Because it is you taking away what should have been a burden on you. It is you taking it away from you. So you want to learn to set boundaries. Let people understand you to a fault. Let them understand you. Let them know that, okay, yes, it is a no-no for this person at this time. Let them understand you. But if you're in that space whereby you're always telling people yes, and a lot of the time it's just because we want to please them. And the truth is, we can't please people. That's just the truth. We can't please people. What we should actually focus on is how to please Allah. That's what is important. And if we can see that, okay, yes, there are certain things that I'm also doing that is important to me, and it is me still serving Allah, then we'll be able to say no to some other things. Because there are different ways we can actually be in that space whereby we are serving Allah. Only if we can think about it. So you want to set boundaries. Learn to say no. If you're not going away with anything today, learn to say no. When people bring something to you, don't think about other people and neglect yourself. Think about it first. How does this serve me? This is a word that I like to, after I tell myself, Marufa, what have you done for yourself today? Another thing that I like to say is, how does this serve me? You want to ask yourself, how does this serve you? Because you are the most important piece in this puzzle, right? Another thing you want to do is that you want to, practice gratitude journaling. This is something that is very important. This is something that I have tested and it has worked. You want to practice, gratitude journaling. You want to be in that space whereby you sit down, you think, you reflect. What exactly is that thing that I am grateful for? And you want to journal it. Because a lot of the time, the things that we go through in life actually makes us to not focus on the things that are going on in our lives. Practicing gratitude journaling is actually an act of self-care. Because you are able to be in that space whereby you are pleased with yourself. Yes, I am able to do this. I am grateful about this. And one other thing about gratitude is that Allah has promised that when we are grateful, we will get more. So this is something, we're not saying something grand. These are little things that actually helps. So you want to be in that place whereby you are staying grateful and you are practicing how to stay grateful by journaling it in a way that there are days whereby you feel drained, you feel down, and when you even pick this journal and you go through it, you feel energized again, knowing that you have come a long way. You have climbed so many, you have gone through so many orders and you've been successful at it. So you want to practice gratitude journaling, right? You want to also write down reflective journaling. Try as much as possible to think, to reflect. What are those things that are going well? Instead of focusing on the things that are not going well, you want to focus on the things that are going well. And the last thing for emotional self-care is to do a lot of dhikr. This is something that is very important. You want to do a lot of dhikr. No matter how small, let your mouth murmur something. Astaghfirullah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah wa la sharika lahu, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. It's not something you have to say out. Just saying it, just murmuring it in your mouth is something that actually helps you. So you want to be in that space. The next one is physical self-care, right? Caring for your body can support your energy. Right, I'm going to, in my, when we get there, I'm going to talk about it in the concluding part so that we can always, put it in that small box and we can always take it along with us, right? And we can, we can implement it just like I'll always say, right? So caring for your body can support your energy. The truth is that for you to actually give and give, you need energy, right? You need that energy. So when you're in that space whereby you practice physical, care for yourself, you are actually adding more to that, your energy that you will need, right? So you are energized, you have that immunity and ability to handle daily challenges. The only time you can handle daily challenges, especially when you have so many younger children or you even have a toddler, whereby you keep giving that energy, is when you are able to feel what's that energy. So there will definitely be daily challenges. So what are the strategies that are going to help your physical, self-care? It may include eating healthy meals. This is something we need to think about, especially as women. I know that we have lots of women listening to me. A time will come that our body will tell us, our body will produce for us what we are giving to it. So instead of being in that place whereby we want to eat junks, the moment I clocked 30, I concluded that no, I have to be in that space whereby I eat healthily. This is something that we need to be intentional about, because there will be lots and lots of temptations of eating things that are just sweet but does not give the body anything. So we need to actually eat good food to be energized, because we need that energy to be there for ourselves, to be there for our children. So we want to eat well. This is something that we've heard. It's not new to us, but then implementing this is something that might be very difficult. And that's why it says that, reminder benefits the believer, right? So we want to be in that place whereby we eat healthy meal. We incorporate lots of vegetables and fruits in our meals. This is not something that is so expensive and we can't afford it. As a matter of fact, the amount that chocolate is being sold and all of those things, if you actually put it in, buying fruits and vegetables, you'll be able to buy lots of it, right? This is something you want to do so that you are going to keep your energy level high, right? So incorporate lots of vegetables and fruits in your meals, right? Engage in physical exercise. We said this last week and also last 2 weeks, but we'll keep repeating this because, of course, this is what we're talking about this month. When we're talking about exercise, it's not just for losing weight. It's not just for, yes, that might be something important too, but it's not just for losing weight. It's not just for us to have a flat stomach, right? Like we all want flat tummy. So it's not just about that. It's also for us to be able to refill that energy of ours. It does not mean that we have to go to the gym to actually be in that space whereby we exercise our body. If it is 15 minutes, if it is 20 minutes inside our home, it's something we can actually do inside our room, inside our house. It's something we can do just for us to be able to feel that energy, right? So a lot of the time we want to come to that conclusion that there's no time. This is something, this is a common slang for everyone. There's no time for this. There's no time for that. But we need to know that when something happens, we'll give it that time. We'll definitely give it that time. So it's something that is very, very important that we give it before our body start demanding for it, right? That's for physical self-care. The next one is mental self-care. Stimulating and resting your mind can reduce anxiety and boost focus. You see, a lot of the time we worry so much. We worry about lots of things, about finance, about our children's behavior, about so many things. We worry. But then we need to know that worrying does not solve our problems. Who will help us put that in the comment section? This is something that I have learned. Worrying does not actually solve our problems. If you worry about it from now till tomorrow, it will not get it solved. So what you want to do is actually think about the way out rather than worrying about it. So if you're in that space where, okay, yes, your child has done something wrong. Maybe your child did something wrong yesterday night, and this morning you took it, you brought it forward. Like we always bring it forward in accounts, right? We always bring it forward. Whatever it is that has happened in the past, maybe your child has misbehaved or something, you bring it forward again. So the following morning, you're still talking about it. Your child, you not keep compounding it. You're not getting that mental stability that you need to actually, that you need for yourself to function well. So you don't want to always bring forward whatever it is that has happened. If you keep bringing forward, you will not have that mental stability that you need. Right? So you need to be in that place whereby you are resting your mind. You are not just thinking about lots of things. You are worrying about lots of things that worrying will not actually solve. And you need to start, start putting into practice the things that will actually help the challenge that you have. So definitely, your children because children are always children, they will always mess up. Your children will always mess up. So you can now imagine for every mess that your child makes, you can imagine you always bringing it forward. What is going to happen? You are going to burn out. You are going to be overwhelmed because you feel that there are lots of things that you need to deal with. So if you are constantly bringing everything especially if you have so many children, you have about 3, 4, 5 children. This one does something, you bring it forward. This one does another thing, you bring it forward. You do not have that mental stability that you should have as a parent. So this is something you want to look into. Try as much, even if there's something you want to think about the things that are going on well. We already spoke about this. Rather than thinking about the things that are not going on well, because like we always say that what you pay attention to is what grows. What you feed is what grows. What you don't feed doesn't grow. Right. So you want to be in that place whereby you rest your mind so that you reduce being anxious. You are able to boost your focus. You are able to focus on the things that really matters. So you want to ask yourself, if you're having that, if you're having that feeling of wanting to lash out or wanting to bring, that's how you did this yesterday. That's how you want to ask yourself, how does this serve me in this present moment? So taking time to rest or practice deep breathing can reduce parental stress. It can reduce that stress. They are very little things. But then just like I said that we can't leave our children. We can't run away from them. But then we can focus on these little things and make sure that they serve us as they should serve us. This is something we want to think of. Right. The next one is social self-care. Social self-care is that strong relationship that it is something that can actually help us. It's an important part of our being as parents, and it helps us to maintain and improve mental health, right? And a lot of the time, it's said that we don't know the value of what we have until we lose it. There are times that, you want to think about the fact that, okay, you don't have people around or there are no people around, but then the online space, those are one of the good things that the online space brought to us. We can actually be in that space whereby we hang out with so many people around us, with sisters of like minds, with sisters that have the same value. Let us be in that place. That idea that we used to have, that I don't have friends, my children are my friends. We need to be in that space whereby we bust that myth. Because we need friends. Yes, we need people around us. We need to be in that place whereby we socially care for ourselves. We intentionally build that circle that serves us. We are in that space whereby we create and we build relationships that actually serve us. Because there are times that you just want to run. There are times that you just want to talk. There are times that you have questions you want to ask. It is said that 2 good heads are better than 1, let alone 3, let alone 4 good ones that have the same values with you. I'm not saying that we should throw ourselves out and, just go with anyone. Yes, there's this hangout, we go, there's this hangout. But then, there are beneficial ones that we can say that, okay, yes, I'm going for this. Be in that space whereby you intentionally build your circle of friends. Be in that space whereby you intentionally build your circle of people that you can say that, okay, yes, I want to speak to. I want to get, because, there's the way that they do that, they give you that energy that you want. And like we said, that we need that energy in raising our children. You can imagine trying to care for yourself and trying to care for 3, 4, 5 of your children. So you need that energy. So you need to always think of ways to actually add to that energy rather than drain from that energy. So social self-care is something that is real, and it's something we need to invest into. It is not going to cost us so much. Yes, remember I said that there are times that we need to say no. When we know that these things do not serve us, then yes, we should say no. But when we know that this thing will actually add to our energy, this thing will actually serve us, then we could say yes to it. This is something that is very important. Let us be in that space whereby we intentionally build our circle. It may be important to, spend meaningful connection time with supportive friends, with family members, with community members. This is something that is very important. A lot of the time, what our parents had back then in those days is that they had a large family they lived together with. But we do not have that anymore. So we need to intentionally build that community for ourselves, right? So the next one is, practical self-care. Practical self-care, the things that you can actually do practically, right? So organizing your environment and, responsibilities can reduce daily stress and help life run more smoothly. And this is where systems and structures come in. I said from the beginning that if you have your life planned out, like, okay, yes, these are the things I want to do, these are the things I want to achieve, these are the things I am not doing, it helps you to be able to say no when you need to say no. It helps you to be able to say, yes, I'm going to consider this. But then if you have not planned anything, if anyone can just, pick you up anytime and say, yes, I'm just going with you, I'm just going to do this. But then if you are in that space whereby you have the necessary systems, you have the necessary structures in place, that is going to help your day-to-day activity. It is something that it's a form of self-care. So plan your days on paper and avoiding distractions. This is something that is very important. So you want to be in that space whereby you write, these are the things that I want to do today. Yes, I want to be in that space whereby I connect with my children. Yes, write it down. If it is something you have to do that day, this is where you have to put the necessary structures to the things that are important, not the things that are not important. A lot of the things that we pay attention to are not actually important to us. Yes, but they might be important, but they are not important in the season of life that we are. Maybe our children are very young and, there are several things. There are some things that we don't even need to consider it. No matter how we feel that, okay, yes, this thing is so beneficial. This thing is something that will give me, that will give me rewards. Tending for your children in a way that you put a smile on their face, in a way that you become that safe haven for them, it is also an act of worship. So when you know this, you know the things to say yes to, you know the things to say no to. So you need to be in that space where you create systems and structures for daily tasks. It will help you to free up time for other forms of things that you need to do. You will be able to have more time to actually create those major things that you feel like, okay, yes, this thing is self-care to me and I need to do it. So you want to be in that place, create system and structure. And this is, this is exactly what the community is for. It's for us to be able to build systems and structures that will actually help us. So we want to be in that space, right? So practicing self-care doesn't have to be time-consuming. It doesn't have to be something grand, like I said from the beginning, right? Or it doesn't have to be something rigorous. You need to know that in your process of doing all of these things, I've spoken so much about how, if it is just us, how we can do it. But then if you have your children, you need to be in that space whereby you skill them up early enough. You skill them up early enough. And if you are not ready to take up the mess of parenting, if you are not ready to be in that space whereby you say that, yes, this is the mess, but then I'm going to, I'm going to take the mess so that they become better at whatever it is that I want them to do. You might not be able to have that time for yourself. So you need to skill up your children. Skilling up your children is something that is very important for you in the long run on your journey. Because if you can imagine when you're 5, 6 years, they are able to do certain things that you would have taken your time to do. You can imagine if they can do those things themselves. And of course, before they can actually do it themselves, they will do it wobbly. They will do it in a way that is not pleasing. But then from them practicing, they become perfect at it. They become, they do it well. So you don't want to always be in that space whereby you want everything perfect. Just like we said last week, if you always want perfection in your journey of parenting, you will give your all and you will not still get that perfection. Because at the end of the day, your children are not even going to be useful for themselves because they can't do anything. So you want to be in that place where you skill up your children to also be able to take charge. So skilling them up is actually a lifetime self-care for you. It is something that is continuous. It's something that you will definitely reap the benefit as you go on, right? So teaching children to do certain things, to think independently, to solve problems creatively, to take responsibility for their lives is a beautiful and effective way to create more personal time for yourself as a parent. So you can imagine you have a 10-year-old, you have an 11-year-old who can make a meal. And when we say make a meal that is sufficient for the entire family to eat, how beautiful would that be for you? So a lot of the time, there are things that we pay attention to and we feel that, this is all that my child needs. This is all that my child needs. Let me just give it. We want them to, once school has resumed, they stop house chores, they stop doing every other thing, and they just want to focus on their homework. They just want to focus on this because you feel that that is what they need. You feel that it's the only thing that they need. But then there are certain other things that they also need, and that will be of benefit to you, first of all, before it even benefits them as children. Yes, this is something that, you want to look into. So you don't want to always be in that space whereby you want to do everything for them. You want to always be in that place whereby, you are hovering over them. You are an helicopter parent. Any little thing, you want them to be safe. You want them to have that soft hand. It is something that will come back to haunt you. So this is something you want to think, you want to think of, and you want to start putting into perspective. Try as much as possible to start giving age-appropriate, tasks, age-appropriate chores for your children as they grow. And like I always say, they love to do all of these things. It's just that we don't allow them to do it, right? In conclusion, I would like to wrap up with something that is called the trifecta in parenting, which are the mind, the body, and your energy. So you need to be in that space whereby you are paying attention to your mind, you are paying attention to your body, and you are trying as much as possible to always feel that energy, because this is something that will help you to continue. It will help you to be there for yourself. It will help you to be there for your children, and you'll be able to give, what you want to give without exhausting yourself, right? The more we are able to take care of this trifecta, the more we are able to parent better. And of course, we want to parent better, and that's why we're always here. That's why we always come and listen to, every of our talks here. May Allah reward you for that, and may Allah make it easy for every one of us. You need to know that you don't have to be in that space whereby you find out everything alone. You don't have to do everything alone. You don't have to do parenting on survival mode. You don't have to survive through it. You can thrive. You can be in that place where you are raising your children and you're also thriving as parents. This is something that is possible. This is something that I can tell you that with the little, times that I have used to parent, I'm not just where I used to be, right? I am also evolving just like my children are evolving. You don't have to do all of these things alone. And that's why LLP community is created. Inside the LLP parenting community, we are going to help you to build systems that refuels you, that supports you, and that reminds you that you are not alone, right? You are not alone. We're always going to be there for you, because parenting without burnout is actually very possible. Parenting without stress that people shout, yes, it's stress, is actually very possible. Only if you have the skills and you have that wherewithal to actually pull through. It is something that is actually possible. And it begins with you choosing to fill your own cup, choosing your own peace, right? One intentional moment at a time. So thank you so much for coming. I said that we're not going to spend up to an hour. It's going to be a very short session because of other things that I need to attend to. I really do appreciate. If you would love to be a part of the community, remember that by 31st October, this month, the early bird offer is going to be closing. But for those who have registered with a token amount, they can always pay 50,000. But if you've not registered, it's going to, the price is going back to 65,000 naira, and it's very okay. Whatever it is that I have planned, Allah is the best of planner, but then I am planning is not something that is, it's something that is worth more than whatever it is that you're paying. You pay 50,000, you pay 65,000, whatever it is that you're going to be getting in return, bi'idhnillah, is nothing compared to what you're going to be paying. So take advantage of the early bird offer before 31st of October so that you can, have that opportunity and you can save up. For those of us that have also registered, please try as much as possible to be, try as much as possible to pay up before the 1st of January. May Allah put baraka in your dealings, and may our Razak provide for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for inviting other people. For those who invited people, I really do appreciate it. So let's meet next week again, next week Friday, inshallah, and keep talking about parenting. May Allah make it easy for us, and may Allah make it something that we can actually implement. Thank you so much, and have an amazing weekend. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.